promise I'm not going to let you sing. You are listening to KXGV 98.5 FM, Garden Valley, Idaho, your community radio station. You're on the air with Slick Gourmet. It is 9:19. I have the great Basin team here, number 2, in the studio, and we're going to get into an interview right away regarding the fires. So, let me turn on their mics and get them moving. Okay, let's do a test.
Hi.
That's good. Dan?
Hello.
Okay, that's great. At least they're up at the microphone. Some of them just kind of lay back in the chair and we can't even hear them. Okay, so let me introduce you. This is Great Basin team number 2. And we have Dan here. He's an incident meteorologist. You know, like I'm a mediocre meteorologist. Well, he's an incident meteorologist. He's been a meteorologist for over 40 years, right? Yeah. Okay, and then also we have Erin. She's a public information officer, and I'm going to have Erin go first. So,
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Erin. I'm here to talk about the Middle Fork Complex as well as the Snag Fire and the Goat Fire. Fire activity is expected to remain minimal today throughout all fires as high humidity and cooler temperatures remain. Currently, the Middle Fork Complex is at 61,484 acres with 35% completion and 503 personnel. The Snag Fire is 33,300 acres with 33% completion and 251 personnel, and the Goat Fire is 26,466 acres with 0% containment and 112 personnel. A warm drying trend is expected to begin on Tuesday and continue for the remainder of the next week, and that leads me to our incident meteorologist.
okay, Dan, you're up. All right, good morning. So, what is the difference between a regular weatherman and yourself?
Well, there are approximately about 90 incident meteorologists across the country. We are all part of the National Weather Service, which has offices in every state in the United States.
Right.
And there's about 90 of us, and our job is to go out and support the incident management teams. For example, the Great Basin Team 2 here, and provide weather support to the teams and provide them information as far as upcoming weather. And our main job is for the safety of the firefighters. That's our number one priority, to give them advanced information on strong winds, low RHs, and to really help them predict what's going to happen.
Also, why is it important to have an incident meteorologist predicting the weather for a fire? Because the weather out there right now is absolutely gorgeous. We don't smell smoke anymore for some reason. Is that because there's a low pressure, or why is that?
Well, right now the fire is just pretty much kind of laid down because of all the rain that you had over the past few days. That's the main reason. But the fire is still out there. There's still heat in some of the heavier fuels out there. But our job is especially when the fire is first begins and it's still hot and running and gunning, is to really give them a heads up as far as what the winds and the RHs. So I provide that information to the team, but also to what's called the fire behavior analyst, and he does predict the potential of what the fire is going to do over the coming days. But once again, like I say, my main priority is the safety of the firefighters, and so it's just weather drives wildfires, and so some of our things that we really need to look out for: strong outflow winds from thunderstorms that has caused fatalities to firefighters over the years on several incidents. And so we're just really keeping an eye on that. We have weather radar. We have different tools that we can use to help us do that.
Past couple days when we had that big rainstorm, did you do a measurement of rain?
Yeah, the previous incident meteorologist here, but he briefed me that generally it was around 0.2 to 0.7 of an inch across the entire fire. That's just kind of a generality, but overall that's generally what it was. So it was quite a bit of, pretty much all the fires seen at least 0.2 of an inch, but some areas received more, some a little less.
But not enough to squelch that fire.
No, not enough to squelch the fire. There's still heat as in their heavier fuels and stuff. There's still heat out there.
So in the areas that there is no fire or heat like that, so the rain came down and got onto the green and kept that from catching fire, correct? I mean, it moistened it a lot?
Yeah, it moistened the fuels, and it raised what's called the ERCs, which is the energy release component. So the ERCs are pretty low right now as we speak, but that may change a little bit over the coming days.
What about the coming forecast? Are we having, see, according to my radar here, we're having sunny skies all the way through next week, through next Sunday, the 29th. Do you see rain in the forecast?
No, I don't disagree
No?
with that at
Okay.
all. Yeah, from what I look at what's called ensemble models, which basically combines a whole bunch of different models,
Mm-hmm.
so we can kind of get a really good idea of the weather in the pretty much 7 to 10 days. We get a pretty decent idea of what's going to happen, and it does look like we're going to go through a warming and drying trend
Mm-hmm.
pretty much into next week. I would say the beginning to the middle part of next week, we're going to see strong upper level high pressure build over Idaho and over this area, obviously. And that's going to warm temperatures. We could see temperatures, at least in the lower elevations down here, into the 80s by Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And another important factor is the relative humidities. We could see relative humidities drop into, well, today, at least in the lower elevations, RHs are going to be down in the upper 20% range. And then maybe by middle next week, we might see relative humidities in the mid 20% range. The one thing, though, is that we're not going to see any strong winds, so that's pretty important.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing, is I'm not really seeing any strong winds, but we are going to see warmer and drier conditions for the coming days, and that will drive up what I was saying earlier, was talking about the energy release components. That'll begin to rise over the coming days, but it's not going to get anything above what's called the 50th percentile. That's kind of a important number to where stuff will begin to burn aggressively, which it doesn't look like that's going to happen.
Okay, well, that's good to know. Erin, I want to get back to you for a moment. How many boots are on the ground, do you know right now?
On the Middle Fork, it's 503 personnel,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and then on the Goat, it's 112, and on the Snag, it's 251.
So about almost 900. on the ground.
866,
Yeah,
yes.
right. Wow. The other question I was going to ask you, are you still having helicopters go over with the retardant or not?
Correct, yes, we still have air resources out
Mhm.
there. I don't know about actually using retardant and stuff
Mhm.
at this point. We are using a lot of flights for infrared light to see where the heats are,
Mm-hmm.
where the heat spots are.
Well, thank you very much. Dan here, the meteorologist, you are from Mississippi.
Yeah, I'm from near Jackson, Mississippi, in central Mississippi. I've lived there for about 20 years, and I've been working for the National Weather Service about 20 years. And before that, I was in the military. But
You all came out here to help us.
yes,
Erin, you are from
I'm from,
Florida.
yep, South Florida, Naples, so
Uh-huh.
this is very cold to me.
Is it?
me too.
Oh, gosh, yeah. And Linda over here, she's videotaping, and she is from Chicago.
Yep, I
Yeah,
am.
yeah, by the Indiana border. So I know where that is. And I'd like to thank all of you for coming out here and helping us and keeping our community safe. So we look forward to, is it going to be next week? You don't come tomorrow for an interview.
Correct. I'm not sure what the schedule is, but
Okay.
we will definitely be here next
Okay,
week
great.
at some point.
Well, if anyone has any questions, you can call it in, and then we'll make sure the next group of people that come in will answer those questions for you. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.